Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're going to find out what's going on with Von Wagner's baby head. Also in this episode, because we're talking about NXT, man. I don't know what was going on there. We got a lot of questions. Larson.
Yes.
Also on today's episode.
Yes.
Not only are we talking about NXT, we got some news we're going to talk about. We got some details thanks to the Game of Games. Triple H gave some details on the World Heavyweight Championship tournament, which itself is bringing on some questions from the general fan base. Mm-hmm. Also, we've got the latest on AEW's roster split and what's going to happen to Rampage, because there's some changes in the
is afoot
for Rampage. But first, what a bummer. Actually, we're also going to talk about Drew McIntyre possibly going to AEW. But first, before that, the Backlash Predictions form is available now. For YouTube channel members at the link. For patrons, it's at the link, $5 and up. So just go to those places. You got the community tab with the membership stuff. And you got the patreon.com/Steven Larson stuff. You got that there. So, and you can still, and here's the thing. This is a great thing about this. This is just for a point advantage in our predictions challenge.
Or 2 points.
One or 2 points going into the actual Defense of Big Red at the end of the month, which is, of course, Double or Nothing, Night of Champions, and Battleground is all that weekend. So it's going to be a big predictions extravaganza, as they say. So very important stuff. So go now and put in your response.
Picks.
And thanks to Cody Miles.
Thank you, Cody Miles,
for coming up with the form. Thank you very much.
He is brilliant when it comes to these Google forms.
Oh, man.
Knows how to do the things. You can do the points and the things, and then that all the information transfers over to a spreadsheet, and you've got drop-down menu, select the answer, it adds all the scores right there. Brilliant. You know who else is brilliant? Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yeah. And he might be leaving WWE. So last month, reports started to surface that Drew McIntyre's contract was due to expire around the end of the year, and that Drew and WWE had engaged in some negotiations but were far apart on the money. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer offered up an update on Drew's status, saying McIntyre will be out of action for a few more weeks. Nothing has changed regarding his contract situation. He is right now working with the idea that there's a good chance he's finishing up. He could do a big program for the title as a challenger and finally leave.
I don't understand why WWE just wouldn't pay him.
Well, they're not a lot of money in WWE these days, man. They're tightening up their budgets because no, I'm joking. They've got billions upon billions of dollars.
I think you're right in both counts. I think to a degree that's why there's a hiring freeze to a degree, because they don't want to spend any more money until this merger's a large amounts of money until this merger's complete. I'm sure. And so that there's reports of a hiring freeze right now, and they may not want to be cutting a bunch of huge checks until the merger is done. Now the merger is done by the end of the year, which I think was kind of the gist that we had heard back when it was announced. Maybe that'll change. I'd still be really surprised if he left. He's one of their top guys. He's great in the ring. He's great on the mic. He's one of their absolute top performers. And to not pay him, if he's asking for, I don't know, Brock Lesnar money, pay him Brock Lesnar money.
You have,
The one thing that separates Drew and Brock is that Drew shows up every day.
Drew shows up every day. You've built this guy into a massive star.
Yeah.
And I understand, Mayor Planet Houston here says he's got like 5 months before he even needs to get serious about it. I kind of disagree with that. Like, number one, that time goes by quick. And you know how it works in wrestling? If you've got back channels to Tony Khan, tell me Tony Khan he'd be a fool if he didn't offer him.
You got to back up the Brinks truck.
Absolutely.
Drew Galloway. Heck
whatever he's giving CM Punk, whatever you're giving that guy, plus a chunk of the company maybe. Remember what CM Punk said? I'm trying to run a business here.
Yeah, I know.
He probably has a chunk of the company. Yeah, give him that plus. Give him CM Punk contract plus is what I say, because AEW could use a guy like that. They really could. It's funny. I was watching like I do this from time to time. After I was done watching a stellar NXT last night, I turned on some 1997 Nitro, specifically the episode that Luger won, beat Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
Hogan had that title for like a year.
Yeah.
and then they had Luger beat him on Nitro. 5 days later, Hogan wins it back, but made for great TV. And it's like, you look at all those like legit former WWE guys that WCW had, man, AEW, they could use a couple of those dudes, just the appearance of a giant Drew McIntyre, who, like I said, big deal. He's a big deal.
He is.
He'd be the biggest deal in AEW.
I know.
But no, I don't think it's too early to be thinking about this. If you're Drew, that shit, it comes quick. Dude, we're already like kind of towards the middle of the year right now.
Yeah.
It feels like yesterday that it was the new year. It's crazy. So no, I think you start thinking about this stuff now and understanding what the landscape is going forward. If there's still this sort of freeze on spending money by the time your contract is up, and through back channels that you can have a CM Punk plus contract, come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's something you're seriously considering right now if you're Drew McIntyre.
I mean, if Drew has a price in mind, there's no incentive for him to budge on that whatsoever, because if he hits the free agent market, you're telling me AEW wouldn't be real eager to write him a huge check?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would, because he's a game changer.
Yeah,
he's a needle mover.
Yeah,
to get a former WWE champion within 3 years of his title reign into your company, that's pretty huge.
It is. No, it absolutely is. So yeah, I mean, that's and the thing is, WWE, they've spent a lot of money keeping a lot of those big guys, and they're gonna be coming off the market at some point. They all are, because that's how contracts work. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, he could be Drew Galloway being in AEW could be a massive, massive deal. I mean, it could be like a tide is turning. Okay, that's a bit much, but
yeah, we thought that was going to happening at All Out 2021.
It could be like, man,
and AEW Dynamite this week just dropped a turd in the ratings. So.
WWE is, what are they worth, like $9 billion?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's not a Titus turning situation.
No.
But it's pretty cool. We might crack 900,000 in the rating situation.
Maybe we'll get consistently 900,000. Maybe.
Oh man.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Speaking of the AEW roster, as it exists now without Drew Galloway, we've been hearing about this roster split because CM Punk is coming back. And some people don't like CM Punk, and they don't want to work with him. So they got to have a roster split and give Punk his own show, AEW Collision. But according to Meltzer in the newsletter this week, this roster split might not be as hard as previously thought. This is what Dave had to say. Quote, the updated plan, and this will possibly change a few times so that there'll be less of a hard roster split as previously told to people who do know about it. Thought is that the split will not be hard at all with the women, as they don't believe there is enough star power to do a hard split. Punk will be the star of Collision most weeks, but he will be on Dynamite at times when needed. Those with unresolved issues with Punk would be on Collision the week he's on Dynamite. The idea is to get people to resolve issues, but that hasn't happened yet, nor has there been any notable progress. It was also noted that all of this is still up in the air and being figured out in real time, and nothing is final, but this could be how it ends up happening. Rampage will turn into what Dark and Dark Elevation were, more to showcase younger talent. The idea right now is for Dynamite and Rampage taped together on Wednesdays nights, and Collision and Ring of Honor taped together on Saturday nights.
What a mess of a report from Dave Meltzer.
I mean, what a mess that AEW has made for themselves.
If this is sort of the case, then yeah. I mean, I want to know how hard this brand split is. Is it hard? Is it?
I mean, right now it just sounds like it's hard unless CM Punk's like, I want to work Wednesday this week.
Is it flaccid or is it hard? Come on.
No, it seems like somewhat hard.
Mm-hmm. It's mildly engorged, is what it is.
3/4 maybe.
This brand split is a shower, not a grower.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, this is look, if this is kind of a big if. It kind of feels like Dave is a bit, he's doing some mental gymnastics here, obviously. But the idea of it's like, Tony Khan with that, weird sheet of paper that he had where he was like,
that 11 by 14.
We've got this guy right here and this.
Oh, look, you got your own. Is that what you booked WCW on right there?
This is my stepkid's driver's license test right here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. With all the grid and everything, this is going to be more of a debate. If outlined here, and again, I think that this is simply Dave Meltzer doing some crazy shit.
Maybe.
Outlined the way it is here, this is more complicated than Kevin Nash's whiteboard.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. Well, if Punk is here, but then we got this guy over here and he's got a problem with Punk, man, you can't. It seems like it's just kind of it's like a fool's errand to assume that you can book 52 weeks a year of television, altogether 4 episodes of it, and based on the notion that people in your roster get along or it's so at odds that they can't be in the same building at the same time for, more than 5 or 6 shows a year.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like it's going to work, but here we are. And I guess they're going to try to make it work. I'm legitimately curious how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I am as well. Like on paper, if you look at the roster, if they want to do a hard brand split, it's there. You just kind of divide the titles relatively evenly. You put the FTR and the tag titles with Punk on Saturday.
You can't tell me the talent's not there. You cannot tell me the talent's not there for a brand split.
I know exactly. You put Jade with the TBS title on Dynamite, and then you put Jamie and the women's title on Collision.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You put Orange Cassidy on Dynamite with the international title, Wardlow with the TNT title on Collision.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can have like one world champion who does both shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can do another world champion. I think that'd be stupid. But the talent is there. I mean, the whole point of having a roster of that depth is for this. Now, does that mean maybe you fold Ring of Honor and bring some of that talent over? Because there is some talent over there that I'd love to see on cable television again, because I don't watch Ring of Honor.
Yeah. You're talking primarily about Athena, I believe.
Athena and Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
Yeah, those two.
Eddie's
those
hurt,
two
I think.
names.
He had a hernia.
Oh, is he? Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, ouch.
No.
So yeah, I mean, fold Ring of Honor. Who cares? I don't know, man. I think that it's outlined this way. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
It's a mess.
It's an absolute mess.
If I kind of feel like they'll be able to make it work, because in the end, they're all getting paid a lot of money to do this. It's just wrestling. You just make it work. But the backstage shenanigans, if these issues are not resolved in advance, the backstage shenanigans are going to be they're going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts.
It's going to be crazy. You kind of have to wonder to a degree after Brawl Out if there was a gag order issued by Tony Khan for no to talk about it. If all parties had decided, okay, we're not going to talk about it, how things would have been different at this point.
Yeah.
If they'd been able to sit down at some point, without stuff getting out to the dirt sheets, and be able to sit down and resolve any outstanding issues.
It's because
it seems like it may be that all the leaks subsequent to Brawl Out, this added fuel to the fire.
Oh yeah. No, but you know what? I to a degree, look, we're totally on the outside looking in.
Oh yeah.
And like, just in a general way, wrestlers using the quote unquote dirt sheets to get their agendas out there could be frustrating to other wrestlers.
Yes.
Who then try to get their agenda out there via dirt sheets. Yeah. And it becomes a mess. But at a certain point, like, if you're Tony Khan, you gotta clamp down on it a bit.
Yeah, I know. I mean, sometimes wrestlers start their podcast of their own to get their agendas out there too,
and then cry about it. Oh, good Lord. Anyway.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on, man. I don't need to talk anymore about that.
No.
Big MGM here as a super chat here says Triple H, the bloodline have held the championship hostage. Let's create another world title and rules to give them a chance to compete for it. What a great segue here with the super chat there.
That's
also
fantastic.
Frantic World in our YouTube chat says, "What's up, Steve Larson in chat? This WWE World Title tournament is stupid. Let's talk about why." So during today's pre-Backlash press conference, the Game of Games Triple H provided some details on the upcoming World Heavyweight Championship tournament. Saying this, and these transcripts come to you via the good people over at Fightful. Said, "A few weeks ago, I introduced the world to the new World Heavyweight Championship. Since then, with Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, being drafted to SmackDown, this World Championship will now be the property of Monday Night Raw. But starting after Backlash, this Monday night on Raw, we'll begin a World Heavyweight Championship tournament. It'll be across both brands. On Monday Night Raw, there'll be 2 triple threat matches, with the winners facing each other later that night to determine a winner for Monday Night Raw. That Friday on SmackDown, the brand where the title will not be," he didn't say that, I said that, "the same thing will happen. 2 triple threat matches will take place. Those winners will face each other at the end of SmackDown to determine a winner there. Those 2 winners from Raw and SmackDown will then go to Night of Champions, where one of them will be crowned the new World Heavyweight Champion." Yes, Larson, you have a question.
I have a lot of them, honestly.
Yeah.
But I have so many, I think I forgot my initial question. Oh, this is what it was. We had presumed that the reason that the upper mid-card main event scene of Raw is so stacked right now is because of this tournament.
Right.
Taking place exclusively on Monday. I understand. If the winner of this tournament somehow comes from SmackDown, they're going to Raw. It's not like the belt's going to SmackDown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what they said. This title is going to be exclusive to Raw.
Right.
But if the idea coming out of the draft at the Raw May 8th after Backlash, all right, the new rosters go into effect. We got a brand split. And I don't think Triple H has really talked about how, hard this brand split is going to be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But based on this, at least initially, not very.
So, the more annoying thing about this, because here's the thing. It's wrestling. Whoever wins this is going to be on Raw. They're not going to show up on SmackDown. No. They're going to write all this stuff. There's 2 things that kind of annoy me about this. Is number one, if it ends up being Seth Rollins and I don't know, Solo Sikoa or something like that. I don't know. It's going to end up being Seth Rollins and somebody else. And I just don't want at Night of Champions for it to be a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want anybody hinting at the idea that they're going to get the title and be on SmackDown. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that would be absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really mind it. But yeah, what you said is totally true. Raw is loaded, and we thought we were going to get all those people in the tournament.
Yeah.
The next thing that bugs me is they know when they do this, it's simply a distraction to the general fan base. I enjoy interacting to a degree in the wrestling sphere on social media, but the only thing I see coming out of this is that, well, Roman can win it now. He's not going to win it.
No, he's not going to win it.
And whoever does win it, it's going to be on Raw because USA wants it that way. But they know damn well that this discourse is going to be a distraction from what could be a cool thing, the tournament. Why do this? It's stupid. You've got so many other things going on for SmackDown.
They're doing it because they think it'll generate excitement, not just on Raw, but the other shows. So you have 2 branches of the tournament take place on both shows, knowing full well the winner of the final is probably 95% sure going to be a Raw roster member as of May 8th. And 100% will be a Raw roster member after Night of Champions.
Well, let me ask you this.
What?
Wait, when is this thing starting?
Monday.
Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, because Monday is when the brand split
rosters take effect.
That's when. Okay, so never mind. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things where I get it. They want to generate. When you say interest, part of that is ratings. They're like, oh, people are going to be interested in this thing. It's going to draw ratings. But like, I don't know. It feels to me like, number one, SmackDown, they got like 30% of the people that Raw did, and they're going to need all those people. So I don't think for a second that whoever's on the SmackDown side of this is actually going to win and come to Raw.
No.
Because, like, okay, in universe, does that mean that they're going to then have to send somebody from Raw over to SmackDown as a trade?
There would have to be a trade, yeah.
Which just, it's like you could avoid that by not having this in the first place. You have a ton of people on Raw to do this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That aspect of it is incredibly silly to me. Yes, whoever wins this is going to be on Raw, but it's like they could have avoided the silliness of this. Like, how do they not sit there and think, this is really silly? Why would why would we have this on SmackDown where we're hammering home, this is going to be on Raw? Like, well, ratings. We get good ratings already. We don't need a tournament.
Really good numbers. I know.
Raw needs the numbers. SmackDown doesn't need the numbers.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It's silly, but for kind of silly reasons.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Which,
in the end, whoever wins it's going to be on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whoever wins it probably is going to be on Raw as of May 8th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe there's the storyline potential because they're teasing so much Seth and Roman that you have a member of the bloodline in the triple threat and eventually moves on to the final against Seth, and that's to help build that story whenever it happens.
If Seth Rollins beats Solo Sikoa in the finals, then that sends a strong signal to Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
that hey,
exactly.
I'm still kind of breathing down your neck over here on Raw, and we're gonna meet up at some point. And that just gives extra motivation, which could entirely be the issue. That could be the thing here. Or even, Cody Rhodes, if they want this to be less, it could be Cody's, a measure of revenge, I guess, against Solo Sikoa for interfering in that match at WrestleMania.
What if they did?
Still silly.
What if they did this? Roman is in the tournament.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
It's Roman and Cody in the final. So Cody beats Roman. He gets the championship.
Oh, Jesus.
But not just not the one that he really wanted to get.
Boy, I have no idea how that would go down. I have no idea, how that's just you're just introducing chaos.
Yeah, I know.
You're just introducing pure chaos. That's wrestling. That's WWE Plus right there, man.
I know. It's wrestling booking at scale. I know.
It is, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know how to be able to wrap my head around that.
I don't know what that would,
Because you get the moment Cody holding up the belt. He beat Roman.
Right.
Did he beat Roman for the belt he came to the company for?
Yeah, but he beat Roman. I know. Yeah, but he's like,
I know, but he beat Roman. He won a championship for the process.
It's like, is this story finished or not? I don't know.
I know.
Did I just finish my story? Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I want to hear people. Yeah, what does that mean in the comments below here on YouTube?
Would that be a satisfying conclusion for Cody's story to anybody, including Cody?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. Just a Hippo says, it might just work. It might be crazy enough to work.
It might be crazy enough to work.
Oh, man.
We got Seth Iroth here, renewing membership for a second month. Thank you so much. Says, nice. Hope Enforcer is doing good. Yep, send love to the Enforcer. Hopefully Enforcer's doing well.
Oh, I love this. Fear and Loathing says, remember when Hulk Hogan did the Mr. America gimmick with a mask? Yeah. Roman should do something similar and enter the tournament. That'd be amazing.
There we go.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, my goodness gracious. Anyways, you want to talk about Von Wagner's brain?
Let's talk about this. So, yeah, NXT Tuesday. It's an interesting situation that NXT put themselves in.
Punk Man says, you insane sons of bitches. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This interesting situation that NXT is in right now. There's several things that I have to work. We have to talk out so I can easily digest it from this Von Wagner segment. So to lay it out, in pretty basic terms is you have Stone sitting there looking through a photo album. And he's looking at pictures of the Beverly Brothers challenging for the WWE Tag Titles at SummerSlam '92 at Wembley.
It's a family album for the Wagners. Yeah.
So Vaughn's sitting next to him and is explaining, those pictures. They didn't win. but I'm going to be champion someday. And then Stone turns the page, and we get a real quick glimpse of a young kid, looks like they're in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then Stone's like, "What's this?" And Vaughn's like, "Oh, that's nothing." Takes the photo album from him.
Don't worry about that, Stone.
And Vaughn does not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And again, Stone is like, you have to open up to me.
He's unlocked this. He's unlocked something.
Yeah. And Vaughn refuses. He leaves, and then Stone picks up the photo album again and turns to that same page, looking at the same picture. So, in the process of that conversation, we find out that essentially Vaughn is on call. He's awaiting to be notified of which brand he's going to. He's been drafted to free agent brand.
Free agent brand is like limbo, yeah.
It's purgatory, pretty much. Where I don't know if that means he sits in NXT and just waits for a phone call or what. Yeah. But that's kind of how it was put out there. But they're finally introducing a story for Vaughn that seems to have a personal connection.
Oh, yeah.
But like in 2 weeks, if he gets a call from Raw, let's say, that he's going to be part of the Raw roster on the full-time basis, this story, odds are, is not continuing on Raw.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm on my phone trying to get to the actual spot. Here we go. There's a lot here to unpack. The thing that I like about this, so the idea is Stone says, Von Wagner, I need to know who you are. You need to open up to me. What better way to do that by opening up a literal family album where you can sort of go through, hey, this is who I am. Well, number one, Stone reacts with such fright and terror to this picture. He's like, Vaughn, what is this? What is happening right here? He's like, hey, I don't want to talk about it. As opposed to like if you and I were looking through a family album and it's like, baby Larson, and I see like you and you've got, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm about to scrub through this thing. It looked like he had like a big scar on the top of his head, right? And I'd be like, oh, look at you, little baby. He's like, oh, what's going on here? You approach something like that with some amount of like, I don't know, tact.
Yeah, you'd be delicate about it. Yeah.
Delicate is a great word.
Yeah.
Stone reacted like this child, like he was like a monster baby. And he's like, oh my God, what are you doing? And so Vaughn responds appropriately. I'm trying to open up to you, which is something, and I'll be honest with you, this segment alone does add a little bit to Von Wagner's character. The guy has a problem opening up. Now, how does that translate to wrestling? I don't know. How are they going to do that? I don't know. But it's some interpersonal dynamics between Stone and Von Wagner, and I kind of appreciate that. They should have done this 6 months ago, of course.
Yeah, they should have. I know. If whatever story is behind that photo, if it's so traumatic to Vaughn that he just kind of closes himself off to people.
Yeah.
Again, that's dimension to his character. And yeah, that's something they should have done 6-8 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. They're finally finding a story for Vaughn that could be interesting.
Yeah. And on top of that,
and we don't hold on. Let me say this real quick, which I don't know if we'll ever see it come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that, it could be the kind of thing that they could wrap in like one segment, or they could carry it over. I mean, here's the thing. NXT's been pretty good lately in terms of creative. And so just like they did with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn and Kent Zero and I'm sorry, Carter and Chance, they gave them this one last thing. By the way, the finish of that match was outstanding. That was a fucking good match, by the way. But I wonder if it's a sort of situation where they've set this thing up and they know they can play it out in one vignette, or maybe even more, they might have actually filmed a bunch of these in one shot. This is like a 2-minute thing that they did.
Yeah, it was pretty short.
And on top of that, Von Wagner as a performer was the most genuine I've ever seen him. He came across as so genuine in this. When Stone says, do you remember, when the Beverly Brothers at Wembley? I don't know, Stone. I wasn't born yet. Yeah. And he said that in such a genuine, matter-of-fact way. I was like, oh, this Von Wagner I could actually legitimately get behind, as opposed to being, sort of the butt of our jokes here on the show. The Come Tuesday guy. But, and the thing about Von Wagner, it'll be interesting to see if they explore this. People, and this is why I've never wanted to buy into the joke of Von Wagner's appearance. You know, like he's got like sort of the heavy ridge, and people say, "Oh, he looks like a caveman or whatever," and I that's a bit on the mean spirited side. You know, like there's a certain line that I don't like, and it's like I get it. You know, he's kind of a goofy looking guy, but there could be. But I don't like to make fun of people how they look. He can't control how he looks. I'll make fun of everything else, but I wonder if they're going to explore some childhood medical issue that might have led to some bullying or something in his life.
Who knows?
You know, they explored something like that with Roxanne Perez with her mental health issues. And it's like getting to the heart of why Von Wagner is closed off. And if it's rooted in some real stuff, dude, I think that's kind of cool. You know, I think that's like actually pretty neat. Yeah,
the possibility exists for it to be pretty interesting if you know, they get around to it before he has to go up to the main roster. You know, as you said, they could have filmed a whole, you know, month's worth of stuff at this one particular taping. And could still run this as he's on main roster potentially. Who knows? You know, I don't know how informed Shawn Michaels is of the comings and goings of his new draftees. And would be in a position where he could shoot enough stuff in advance so they could explore that story. Whether he's on main roster or not, don't know. I mean, by some of his body language while he was announcing draft picks, kind of get the feeling Shawn Michaels may not be too clued into a lot of the decisions made by Triple H. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is going to be the thing. Is this Von Wagner? However, the story turns out, is that going to translate? Is that going to carry over? Is there going to be continuity to main roster? Or is he just be a different person? Or is it going to be a situation where, hey, you know, they explain his backstory, and when he shows up on main roster, even if that backstory doesn't 100,000, you know, that doesn't, 1,000% play into what he does in the ring as a wrestler, hey, I feel like I know the guy a little bit better, so I can get behind him a little bit better with whatever they do with him on main roster. You know, regardless, adding any depth to the Von Wagner character is adding more than we've had before.
Yeah.
So if an effort is made and there's and it comes from a place of sincerity, I'm gonna do my best to be on board with it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, absolutely. Otherwise, another fun episode of NXT. You know, they really know how to book their characters. It interesting storylines that aren't complicated. They don't need to be complicated. If you got interesting, well-developed characters, you just have personality clashes. The stories arise from that. It doesn't need to be some huge high concept thing.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, we've talked about this quite a bit lately. NXT is at a point where so many of their characters have interacted and they've gotten so many reps that they understand who they are. The character dynamics have grown. The chemistry has grown. The history is there that you can start exploring stuff like Trick Williams talking about, you know, being Carmelo's friend in high school and, you know, him taking that shot, Braun Breaker spear for Carmelo Hayes. And you know, being non-apologetic about it, and then the conversation between Braun Breaker and Trick Williams, which is elevating Trick Williams now, seemingly as a solo guy, while Carmelo is.
Well, then also you get the interaction in the parking lot between Trick and Apollo Crews towards the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Where, you know, Apollo Crews, he's on his way out, he's back to Raw, and he's like, "Hey, I know we've had our issues in the past, but I want to let you know, you could be running this place.
Yeah,
in a year, you have everything. You have all the tools. You have all the talent.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this episode is really focused, especially because Mellow wasn't on it, really focused on elevating Trick Williams as a solo competitor.
And I think that's a smart move. I think he's got the size, the look, the charisma, the promo skills. You know, the only question mark is, I mean, he literally just started wrestling like a couple of years ago. You know, where will he be? What point does he need to get to in terms of in-ring stuff? You know, to be successful or to be viewed as, you know, hey, let's bring this guy up to main roster, or how much do they want him to grow his own solo brand in NXT before they do that? I see a lot in Trick Williams, and I think it would benefit him greatly to go on an extended solo run in NXT, and what that looks like, I don't know. But yeah, getting him away from Carmelo, you know, I'm not saying he has to turn on him or anything like that, but, you know, having him, you know, stand out, distance himself, whatever, I think is a smart move. Well, I want to see what this guy can do.
Totally. I guess we can just jump right into it. Show opened up with Wesley versus Drew Gulak for the North American title. Really fun bout. Wesley gets the win after hitting a cardiac kick. Tyler Bate was ringside to kind of watch Wesley's back and end up hitting Charlie Dempsey with a diving uppercut off the ring steps to keep him from getting involved in the finish. And afterwards, Tyler Bate gets in the ring and raises Wesley's arm. He just can't take his eyes off that North American title.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get Tyler Bate versus Wesley, and that's going to be awesome.
That is going to be a phenomenal match. Any chance Bate's the guy to take that title off Wesley?
It's entirely possible.
He's legit. He's a legit threat to that title.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He is. I guess it depends. It kind of depends on how soon I think Tyler decides to kind of go after the title, like as in actually have the match. If he waits, Wesley's whole thing is I have to go out there and have to defend this all the time. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if they kind of do the story kind of like what we've seen with Darby Allin, where, when he was TNT champ, he was defending that title every week and he kind of wore himself out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Wesley, if they kind of do something similar where he defends the title every week and kind of in the process wears himself out, and Tyler Bate goes, all right, this is my time to get my match to win.
Yeah.
There's something there maybe.
Oh yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wesley's been an awesome North American champion. He's like the most relatable character on that roster.
The thing that I loved about this match was right at the bell, Wesley rushed Drew Gulak, just like went right into him, started beating the shit out of him until Drew just got out of the ring. Yep. I love that. More people there needs to be fewer lockups and more like what was that dude in the UFC? There was Clay Guida and the
Punk,
other
he
guy.
did that.
Oh man, no, I'm not talking about a guy going in and just eating a shot and being down. Clay Guida and another dude used to have these fights where they would just like run up on each other and start just pummeling each other in the UFC 10 years ago, and it was awesome. So anyways, Dope is right now giving me shit for wanting to see the Street Profits and Mellow and Trick break up. No, man, I want to see people reach their full potential, man. That's what I want to see. Let's see here. We had a Waller and Mellow recap package after that.
Oh, from Spring Break.
And then we had an Alba Fire and Isla Dawn promo. This is really well shot. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
For being their final thing, this is like a really nicely shot thing.
Yeah, it's like the, 4th, 5th time they've had kind of promos photographed like this, and they're all really well done. Yeah, the lighting's on point. Yeah,
they hired somebody new or something because these look different. They look good.
No, Shawn Michaels is lensing these himself.
Did he take some master class?
He must have.
Or skill. I'm sorry, Skillshare. Probably should say Skillshare. Did he do some Skillshares?
Yeah, maybe. What's his name? Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
Noted cinematographer has classes on there.
Absolutely. He did some Scorsese stuff, right?
Yeah, he did. Coen Brothers DP. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, they say the future is difficult to predict, and now the direction is towards SmackDown. This is their final night at NXT, but one last seance to commence. Carter and Chance have been the torchbearers for the tag division for so long, but they're going to put out their flame and take the tag titles with them to SmackDown. Tonight, they leave this hollowed ground where they came together as one. They leave NXT not in the light, but in darkness.
That's right. So after that, whoop that Trick. Trick Williams comes out. He says, let's get right down to business. Everybody saw last week what happened with Braun Breaker. Not going to lie, he put my brother in the hospital. Mello is still banged up tonight. But you all know, like I know, that Mello's a fighter, and I've known since day one. I'm not talking about day one since I've been in NXT. I'm talking about day one back in high school. That's right. Trick and Mello went to the same high school. I'm kind of curious what their ages are, if that actually lines up. He says, I transferred and looked around and thought, who am I going to roll with? Game recognized game. I remember sitting at the lunch table. Those nasty-ass sloppy joes weren't the only thing being created. Trick Mello Gang was also being created. That's why Mello's my brother, and Trick Mello Gang is always
They're both 28 years old.
All right, that lines up. I wonder if they're it's like as a shoot, like do they go to the same high school?
That I don't know.
He says, their chemistry is crazy good.
Yeah.
He says, last week I moved Mello out of the way to take Braun's spear. It was a knee-jerk reaction. I didn't think twice about it. It just happened like that, and I'd do it again if I need to. In other words, Trick and Mello are like Shaq and Kobe. We all know Mello don't miss, but if he does, we all know I'm coming down with the rebound. That's why I promise you at Battleground, yeah, Braun Breaker, hey, Trick. He's dressed in all black because he's a bad guy now. Yeah. I guess we know who the tough guy is in Trick Mello Gang because last week I speared you and put you in the recliner and you're still out here. Last week I also speared Mello to the stage. I put him in the hospital. So I guess Battleground's going to be a lot easier than I thought. Trick says, So you're accepting Mellow's challenge for Battleground? And Braun says, let me be clear. Last thing everyone do is represent these stupid ass people ever again. I'm a bad guy now. 2 things. 1, I don't like the idea of Mellow having the NXT championship. 2, I have the unique opportunity of humiliating Mellow in his own city in front of all these freaks, all of his fans, and in front of his family. That's what get my attention. So I want to relay the message for me, pal. Appreciate it, Shaq. And then Braun starts leaving. Trick says, hold on there. I'm sure Mellow's watching through the TV set. Last week, you blindsided Mellow. You also blindsided me. I say we handle this like men. Braun gets back in the ring. There's only one man in this ring. Big bad booty daddy. I already put Mellow. He didn't say that. He's already put Mellow in the hospital. I hate to do the same thing to his mouthpiece. And Trick said, you ain't about to fight no mouthpiece. Your super tan ass is going to need a mouthpiece. He says, don't forget, I'm Trick Willie, the one with the gift of the gab and the gift of the jab. You're just mad that people never loved you like they loved Trick Mellow Gang. Matter of fact, you keep running your mouth, I'm going to knock that tan off you till you're black and blue. Believe that. Braun says, you want to do this right now? Trick says, let's do this thing. Braun says, I'm calling the shots. We'll do it next week. Let's call it a preview of Battleground because I'm going to break you in half. Holla if you hear me.
Then we got a J.D. McDonough interview. He says, Mackenzie, I've waited 21 years to become Monday Night McDonough. That means I've got a chip in my shoulder that I'm bringing with me to Raw. So you better believe all the heavy hitters. Interrupted by Noam Dar. And he goes, JD, so good to see you. Congratulations. But I need a favor. Tonight against Dragon Lee, I need you to pop a kneecap, rip a ligament. So make sure he doesn't walk out of here so he stays away from my Heritage Cup. What do you say? For old time's sake? And JD says, Noam, I know you. All you care about is that Heritage Cup. It's probably why you never gave me a shot at it. So I have some advice for you. Stay away from me because if you don't, I will take that Heritage Cup with me to Monday Night Raw.
I appreciate that JD talks in sort of a whisper.
It's very monotone.
It is very monotone, yeah. After that, we had Gigi Dolan versus JC Jane. Gigi's brother sitting in the front row there. And JC Jane gets the win here because there was like a... Were they claiming this like a kind of an exposed turnbuckle here?
It wasn't. It was
like on the side of it.
It was the bolt that connects the corner of the turnbuckle to the. I guess it's the actual turnbuckle.
Yeah, because JC did a thing where she like sort of yanked Gigi's arm like over, and so she hit her head like on the side of the turnbuckle there.
Yeah,
and then she stumbles in, and JC hits her with the big kick, the spin kick.
Yeah, JC got busted open earlier when
it was a great
Gigi
visual.
Kicks her against the ring steps.
Two people got busted open this episode. To great effect, by the way, because she looked like $1 million here with blood all coming down and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then so after the match, JC attacks Gigi, throws her into the ring steps a couple times, stomps on her head over by her brother. She's yelling at her. Refs come to ringside to break it up. And JC tells Gigi's brother, "I'm the star, not your sister."
Mm-hmm. Then we got Axiom versus Scripps. This was fun.
It was what a confusing end this was, though. Like, are we supposed to? Okay, so this is a really fun match. This is a wildly fun match.
Yeah,
Reggie's like in-ring stuff is getting a lot better, obviously, because the athleticism and the flip stuff is great. So Axiom ends up getting the win with the golden ratio. Afterwards, Axiom helps Scripps up. But Scripps is pissed off, so he decks Axiom. Axiom just jumps him out, hits him with a punch, and then he rips his mask off and super kicks him. Just completely treats him like a piece of shit.
I know, and the crowd's chanting, Reggie, Reggie.
Booker T starts laughing and saying, you know who that is? You know who that is? Vic doesn't say a word, and they cut.
I know.
Is he Reggie or not?
I know.
Like, the crowd's chanting Reggie. Booker T is laughing because we all know... But if it's not acknowledged...
Because they never show Reggie's face after the unmasking.
They don't. No, the camera never goes straight up on Reggie's face.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, everybody clearly, obviously knows. But unless they say it on television explicitly, they could go in any direction with this.
I know. Yep. Then we're at Big Daddy's.
Mm-hmm.
The bar that Fallon Henley's parents own.
Mm-hmm.
So Briggs and Fallon are there chatting. Brooks Jensen walks in, and Briggs like, "Hey, how you holding up?" Hey. Brooks says, "I'm fine. I want to apologize to you guys again." And Fallon's like, "You've already apologized to us enough. We told you that already." And then Briggs says, "Hey, things were said, punches were thrown, but at the end of the day, we're family." And Brooks says, "Hey, thanks for not dropping me. And then Briggs says, "Thanks for hitting me with that lariat last week. Reminded me how hard you could hit." And Brooks tells Briggs he has hands of stone. Mm-hmm. And then Fallon says, "Well, it's good." There you go. Fallon says, "Good things are back to the way things were." And Brooks says, "I did learn a few things from Kiana." And he starts talking about the land underneath the bar. He says it's worth a fortune. Either you could add on to the bar, which I don't know why you'd want to do that because there's already nobody there. Or you could sell a piece of it, and then Fallon's parents would be set for the remainder of their life. Mm-hmm. Fallon's like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." And then finally, this bar has a couple patrons, a couple women walk in,
a couple ladies, yeah,
and they walk up to Brooks and they ask, "Hey, do you want to come have a drink with us?"
Yeah.
He goes, "No, I'm trying to catch up with my friends here."
Now, if I'm Briggs, I'm like, "Brooks, I appreciate that you're catching up with us. We're around each other far too much. You have a potential three-way situation here. You could have a three-way dance, so to speak, not even elimination style. You need to go take advantage of it, young man. You might be in a situation a lot of guys dream about, but never get to experience. Have at it."
Well,
but he didn't. Way, Come on, man. Nope. Oh, my. Where's Dick Slavitt? Where is he? I'm going to bring him in.
Oh, gosh.
Here.
No, don't bring him in.
He'll explain it to you better than I can.
No, please. So next we had, this match was awesome. Dragon Lee.
God, this
JD McDonough. This was spectacular. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Go out of your way to watch this one if you get a chance to.
Yeah,
it's really good. The finish saw Lee reversing Devil Inside to a destroyer, so JD then rolls to the floor. Lee puts him back in the ring, but before Dragon Lee can get back in, Noam Dar, who comes down to ringside early in the match, takes a swing at Dragon Lee. He ducks it, super kicks Noam Dar, gets back on the ring. JD hits a huge headbutt on Dragon Lee, and then follows with the Devil Inside to get the win. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as McDonough gets out of the ring, Dragon Lee just comes flying out with a suicide dive and takes out Noam Dar, and they brawl backstage.
Yeah, that was really good stuff, man. That was a killer match.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
After that, we had Carter and Chance in the locker room. Chance says, a Raw team is going to face a SmackDown team because, what is it? Carter and Chance are on
Raw,
and yeah.
And Fire and Dawn are on SmackDown.
Right, and they're like, she's like, that's never happened before. Carter says, Alban Island, they're not taking those titles of SmackDown. Chance says, we've got this. And then Carter says, this is where it started. And this is our last night in NXT. We're leaving champions. So we'll see.
Yep. Then Ava and Joe Gacy are backstage with an iPad watching a Joe Coffey workout video. And then Gacy says, Coffey is impressive, but I'm going to put my body on the line for the Schism's collective good. So Grizzled Young Veterans are standing there by that point.
Grizzled. And
then James Drake says, your sacrifice will not be in vain. Gibson adds that they'll just dethrone Gallus and win the tag titles for Schism, and then they leave. Dyad leaves. And then Ava turns to Joe and says, do this for them and then do something for yourself.
Ava, I plan on going to Burger King after the match.
I'm going to get a long chicken sandwich.
I'm going to get a long chicken sandwich for myself. Thanks for suggesting it. I might also get a kid's meal on top of it with a burger because I like the taste of their burgers.
But they don't have Whopper Juniors anymore, so I have to get the kids' meal.
Yeah. Oh, man. Of course, I'm speaking from experience there. Oh, man, because I love the long chicken sandwich, man, but I just want to taste that burger, dude.
Yeah.
So I got to do what I got to do. Anyways, after that, we got a recap of all the chaos in the Performance Center parking lot with everybody getting attacked to, cover for all the injuries that are going down at the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Then we had Joe Coffey versus Joe Gacy. And, of course, Schism gets involved here with a bunch of distraction stuff. Joe Coffey gets distracted by that. Drake is thrown into the ring. Coffey drops him. Ava gets in the ring because the ref is all distracted by that. She bumps and starts playing like, he hit me. And I'm like, oh, shit, that was messed up. Like, it's one thing to do the Eddie Guerrero, but being like a woman and claiming that dude just punched her. Oh, my God. That's rough. And the ref is like, what did you do? Why did you do that? And he's like, I didn't do nothing. And then Gacy hits his finisher in the meantime.
Yeah.
And gets the win here. And I was like, God damn, what a heist that was for Schism. Backstage, of course, Diamond Mine, they're watching. And Ivy says, I'm always sick of Ava getting involved. And she stomps off.
Well, then the Creeds start laughing.
Yeah. They're like, what's her deal? They really need to, like, if there's anybody in NXT, because I love the Creeds and I love Ivy Nile in the ring. I think they're great.
Yeah.
Maybe some acting classes.
Yeah.
Because they always come, like, dude, they make Briggs, Jensen, and Fallon come off like, Shakespearean trained actors. Like they just got out of the method classes there with what's his face.
Yeah.
They need to work on their performance stuff,
the
character stuff.
They do. I know they do. They really do. Next, we're backstage. Danny Palmer, who's going to make her debut later this episode, is FaceTiming with Steve. Would you like to say it?
Shoruka.
Thank you. Danny says, tonight, this is for you, Saul. And then we get Frank Ledger. Let me be Frank. And Hank Walker. Walking up, chanting her name. Danny. And they're like, oh, it's time for your match. And she goes, all right, thanks, guys. I'll see you later. And so they take a seat where she was sitting. And then Obafemi walks in. And then they ask him, are you going to watch her match? And he just walks off without saying a word.
Not having any of it.
Nope.
What are they doing with, number one, I like the aspect of this that's like very sort of campus-like, it's like not like Chase U campus or Duke U apparently.
Or Duke U, yeah.
Which was hilarious,
Duke University.
by the way.
That was pretty funny.
But like Hank Walker, Frank Ledger, the whole like, hey, we're underclassmen aspect of it. I kind of like that, especially if we follow their story for the next like 10 years in WWE to see them make that transformation. Because Frank Ledger and Hank Walker, they got that chemistry of like, they're totally doing like the Seth Rogen type thing with Hank Walker, how they're sort of goofy.
Hank and Frank.
Yeah, Hank and Frank.
Then we got an Eddie Thorpe interview. He's asked, he's at the PC. This is earlier in the day. And he says, he's asked, are you done for the day? He goes, yeah, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I'd stay all day here if they would let me. And then Damon Kemp walks up and says, I got some trash for you to throw away.
Yeah, he's so shitty.
Yeah, he is. He says, and then Eddie Thorpe's like, what do you ask me to do? You asked me to throw away your trash? And Kemp says, yeah, dude, you're the new guy around here. Throw away my trash. And Eddie says, that's not your funniest joke. And David says, no, that's you thinking that you can hang with me in the ring. And Eddie says, well, I'll take that bet. And Damon responds with, young boy, I said I liked you. Don't make me put an end to the hype before it even starts.
He said, throw away trash.
He said, young boy.
I feel like no matter how that first match goes, the fact that Damon Kemp said, throw away my garbage.
I know.
You're used to living on the floor.
Yeah.
He said you're used to living on the floor. Yeah.
Throw away my trash. And I like
he already got the win here.
The young lion reference, call him young boy.
Oh, yeah. Call him a young boy.
That was good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah. No, I thought that was good. Oh, man. You're used to sleeping on the floor. Throw away my trash. Wow. That's out of pocket, man. Come on. That's too far.
That's pretty funny, though. So then we got Danny Palmer versus Tatum Paxley. Danny Palmer used to be a gymnast. And based on her athleticism in the ring, you can definitely tell.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a lot of fun.
She was doing some crazy stuff. That roll up, I can't even know how to describe it. Like she reversed a move and did a roll up so quick and fluidly.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was like almost like a jackknife. It was crazy.
Apparently, she's been killing on a Level Up, man. But I don't watch Level Up.
I'll have to check that out more often.
Yeah.
Because someone in chat said that Trick Williams has been wrestling on Level Up a lot.
Oh, really? Damn, dude.
So the finish saw them trade abdominal stretches, and then Danny Palmer escapes, hits some running back elbows, a jumping knee, neck breaker. Paxley tries to roll her up. Palmer kicks out of that, goes up top, and hits a frog splash to get the win.
Yeah. Good
so
stuff.
a really good debut, or NXT debut for Danny Palmer.
Absolutely. So then we're at Chase U, and everybody's freaking out because Andre Chase is in there, and Thea's like, "Where's Chase?" And everybody's phone rings, and Thea picks hers up and says, "Oh no!" And Duke's like, "What is it?" And Thea says, Chase canceled class today. He's still not feeling well after he got murdered by Braun Breaker last week. She said, maybe we can bake him cookies or get him flowers. And Duke says, I know exactly what he'd have me do.
He kind of says that to himself. He goes, I know what he'd have me do.
Yeah. Yeah. He's inspired. he takes the podium and he says, there's no reason why we should fall behind in the curriculum just because of Chase and Braun last week. So even though I'm totally unprepared for this, he gets this huge binder labeled Duke University Curriculum on the podium. He says, I'm going to be teaching class for the remainder of the class today. He says, we're going to be learning about the WWE draft. And a student raises a hand and says, is there going to be a pop quiz today? And he says, all right, everybody hold up your papers. And everybody holds up their Scantrons. And he says, now rip in half. No more pop quizzes. And students start chanting Duke's name. And he says, Duke University. Nice ring to it. And then you hear Vic say, but there's already a Duke University.
Oh, it was pretty funny.
It was pretty damn funny, yeah.
It was pretty funny. So then we had...
Was this entire from Duke joining Chase U to this moment, was it all building to this one punchline?
For that one joke? Mm-hmm. The Duke U joke? I don't know.
The Duke U joke, yeah.
So then we get the segment backstage with Stone and Vaughn. So as mentioned, Stone's sitting on a couch flipping through pictures. Vaughn sits next to him, and you know, there's pictures of SummerSlam 92 at Wembley, and Vaughn's explaining what's going on, says, my dad may not have been a champion, but I will be someday. And that's when Stone turns a page to a picture of Vaughn, we'd assume, as a kid in the hospital. It's like, what is this? And Vaughn just goes, I don't want to talk about it. And Stone says, you just got drafted as a free agent. You could get the call from Raw or SmackDown any time. Vaughn, you got to keep talking to me. What is this picture? And Vaughn closes up the photo album and says, I don't have to talk about anything. That's good for tonight. He gets up and leaves.
Hey, Stone, I want to talk about this. When I was a kid, I had like a giant thing in my head. So I have no idea where that's going. But I liked it. Like I said, that bit where Stone was like, oh, do you remember when your dad was at Wembley? No, Stone, I wasn't even born yet. That alone, that one line, I was like, oh, man, that's perfect for Von Wagner right there.
Yeah.
After that, we had, this match was absolutely fantastic. Carter and Chance versus Fire and Dawn, and the cinematography here at the end, where they do their finish, and Katana Chance is like all bleeding, like she was like bleeding from her nose or something, and you know they do the thing where they like sort of bring her. It's kind of like in.
It's like a gory bomb, like Sister Abigail Blade Runner combo.
Right,
what it was.
Yeah. So you see all three of their faces, but Chance's is upside down because of the positioning, and they're all like facing the camera, and it's a great visual. And then they hit it.
Yeah, because you got Alba there with a bit of a smirk on her face because she knows, all right, we're about to win right here. Oh, it's good. It's really good.
And then they said that they're taking the NXT or commentary said they're taking the NXT tag titles, women's tag titles to SmackDown.
So maybe each brand will get their own women's tag titles.
That could totally be, yeah.
Then we got a Dijak promo. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
He says, Ilya Dragunov, I gave you fair warning, and now look at you. Your rib cage is smashed. You didn't see much like a mad dragon when you were trapped under that garage door, did you? Don't worry. I left a piece of you left to smash next week.
And next week, I finally got to break you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little booze, little glass next to him with some, I guess, booze in it or something.
Yeah, I guess like some whiskey or bourbon or something like that.
Nightstick next to him. Like, why does he have that?
And he's always got that tape recorder. He always records his soliloquies on.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
I know. They need to release that.
I know.
Put that on Spotify.
Dijak's greatest hits.
Yeah. It's just his madman rantings. I went to Arby's the other day. They said they didn't know what a meat mountain was. Whose nickname is that? Oh, that's Boogs' nickname now.
Yeah, they forgot my horsey sauce, so I threw a brick through the window.
I threw a brick through the window.
Guess I have to find a new Arby's.
I stole a car the other day. Drove it down the street and then just left it there. Didn't do anything.
Just left it at Arby's parking lot after I filled my order.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So then Trick's in the PC parking lot. He's on the phone. You assume talking to Mellow. And he says, hold on, I'll call you back. And he hangs up. Apollo Crews walks up and congratulates Apollo Crews for getting called up to Raw. Mm-hmm. And Crews says, I see a lot in you. I know you have the ability to take over this whole place. Right now, Mellow has a spotlight that he deserves, but Trick Williams is definitely a superstar. I know all the guys in the locker room wish they had the gifts that you have. Don't let that talent go to waste. You keep grinding, stay true to you, keep busting your ass, and next year, it's going to be your name called to Raw or SmackDown. And Trick says, you don't know how much that means to me. And Crews says, give him hell next week.
This has got to be a Trick, so like an official sort of Trick solo run, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had the NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell, who's on her way to Raw, came out to deliver a promo and some news. She says, 1,330 days ago, I stepped through the doors of the Performance Center for the first time, and I was a 23-year-old with a hope and a dream. I was a fan of the black and gold era, women like Bayley, Charlotte, and Asuka, who carved their own way in the industry, legends who built this division to what it is today, women who helped make this championship one of the most important titles in WWE. No one ever thought I was going to achieve that goal. They counted me out. They doubted me until I found the way. A family with Johnny and Candice and Austin and Dexter. That was where I formed a bond with them, but also with you guys. I got married in this very ring at WWE wedding with no interruptions. I couldn't believe it. Just like I couldn't believe winning this title at Stand and Deliver. A lot of people say they want to be a fighting champ, but you don't always get an opportunity to do that. Last week, I was in the medical room with a high ankle sprain, about to be taken out of the match, and I thought, hell no. I got my ass back out there because I wasn't going to let my title run out on the medical table. Then came Friday, and I got drafted to Raw. It's been a few days, and I still can't believe it. Come May 8th, my new home will be Raw. But right now, just like when I was 23, the most important thing is NXT and this title. So starting next week, there's going to be a tournament to crown a new women's champion, culminating at Battleground. Ladies, good luck. One more thing I want to say. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. She looks at the title. She kisses it, places it on the mount, and says, now I just need to figure out how I'm going to get out of this ring. And then we find out because Dexter slides out from under the ring, and she falls into his arms, and he carries her up the ramp and backstage. And then we're back in the ring, and Tiffany Stratton reaches down. She picks up the belt, and then Cora grabs it. They start arguing over it. And then, there's every woman in NXT out there fighting, and they just start brawling with everybody.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a very effective way to end NXT this week.
It definitely was.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go to questions, there were some super chats we missed yesterday, so hopefully Luis and Mason are watching.
Mason.
Luis asked, what were your jobs as bureaucrats before this fresh podcast? Also, shout out. He says shout out to himself, Luis, for going to New Japan in Long Beach. That looks like a cool card today.
Oh, that's fun.
Or the 21st, happening on the 21st. So what you want to fill Luis in our civil servant jobs?
As people know, that this is a new podcast. This is a new endeavor for us. We're really putting ourselves out there on a limb. We're in our mid-50s now. We're looking for, some real meaning in life, and hopefully we'll find it in a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
But before this, of course, we were civil servants. I was, my official title was a sub-regional data analyst for the APOC.
Oh.
And so yeah.
Yeah, I was a risk analyst for the Department of Forestry.
Yeah, risk analyst.
So we're real happy to be exploring this new endeavor, and so far it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
much more fun than sitting in front of a computer and analyzing risk.
Yeah, no, for the Department of Forestry, absolutely. The APOC really it's it's like they can't fire you. Like you'll never get fired. So a lot of people are just phoning their job. Yeah, and I'm not that type.
I had a folder this thick of complaints about my work. They weren't going to fire me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they all celebrated once we decided to leave.
Yeah. In fact, they were very generous with the terms of the resignation. It seemed like they were very excited about us leaving. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go ahead and answer a couple questions.
Oh, we got a couple more here. Sorry, from Mason. There's two from Mason. He asks, what would you like to see Blackpool Combat Club become long-term? New members, Civil War, crossover with other shows? And also says, what about Blackpool Combat Club holding all the gold? Ideas?
Yeah, I'd like that. I like them all, including that little shit. Wheeler Yuta. The idea of that little shit holding some gold is pretty funny. I'd be cool with that. Long-term, though, I don't know. New members? Would you want it to expand into
not too much.
Yeah, not too much. Like not like NWO?
I mean, like the genesis of it is especially with Danielson, Claudio, Mox. They all have that connection to Regal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not aware of Wheeler having any sort of connection to Regal prior to AEW. But if they could find someone else that has that connection to Regal to add, that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be neat.
That'd be cool.
We have a super chat here from Ite So Boom says AEW having a show solely so talent can avoid one another and naming Collision is just hilarious.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
That is actually pretty funny.
Hidden Network here says, love the Backlash press conference, especially between Priest and Bad Bunny.
Oh, Dom talking so much shit a bit to Ray was hilarious. And that crowd, dude, I am looking forward to Backlash.
Yeah.
That is going to be a fun show. That crowd is going to be something else, man. It's going to be something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the Patreon here, we got some questions. Alex Foster asks, who should dethrone Gallus? It's not going to be Grizzled Young Veterans because they already said they're leaving in October.
Yeah, they're going to be gone. Although I'd love to see that. I think it'd be awesome. I mean, dude, I don't know. It could be them and somebody could take it off. It could be them and the Creeds could take it off them. So it's not going from like, because Gallus are basically faces. They're good.
Yeah.
guys.
Alex Foster suggests a No Fay and Blade. I'd be super happy.
I'd be over the
that.
moon for that.
Yeah, No Fay and Blade are great. Why are they not on TV on a more regular basis?
Dude,
they're so good,
man. I don't know.
They're so good.
They should split them up, put them on solo, like on a solo run.
Ty Moore here says, do you think we'll see Roman at Money in the Bank in London? If so, who will he face? Yes, Roman will be at Money in the Bank.
Oh, Roman will be at Money in the Bank. Yeah. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be at. He's not gonna be at Backlash.
No, he's not at Backlash. He'll wrestle at Night of Champions and he'll wrestle at
Money who's his Night of Champions opponent gonna be?
Going to be Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Something else. Oh my god.
Oh, sorry, Cody Rhodes. I mean Cody.
Cody Rhodes.
Roman versus Cody.
God. Yeesh.
Well, how about this? Here's another scenario. What if Austin Theory loses U.S. title Lashley at Backlash? He's in the tournament. He wins it. Goes back to Raw. The Way tries to recruit him back.
I'd be cool with that. Yeah, I don't know. In the moment, I'd be bummed out. I'd be like,
Yeah, I know.
But if it led to something, I'd be cool with it. Guardian Ape says, what in your opinion would be the better booking route for Cody? Him to lose to Brock and go in sort of a depression, losing to Seth at Clash, losing Money in the Bank, and slowly crawling back. Did you write this? Are you Guardian Ape?
Not me.
So he just loses against everybody.
Yeah.
Or him to just beat Brock and beat all these big name guys for the rest of the year and beat Roman next year. Yeah, that's what they should do.
There should be more. There's got to be a middle ground between losing all the time and then beating everybody. There's got to be some ups and downs. It can't be completely smooth sailing after Brock. I mean, it's entirely possible Cody wins Money in the Bank and says, SummerSlam, I'm challenging Roman, and then it all ends there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either. Blake Whitehouse says, is it just me or is Matt Riddle starting to feel like the babyface version of Baron Corbin in terms of reactions from fans?
Ooh. Yeah, whatever happened with Matt Riddle, he was in a place and he ain't in that place anymore. I don't know if I'd say he's like in a barren spot, but yeah, he was in a place and he's not there anymore.
Yep, that's true. New Kyle here says, power rank who would be in the final of the tournament and how would the match play out? So let's each give a scenario of the final and how it would play out. This tournament final.
We've already given your scenario of Cody versus Roman. I think that's a good one. That's a crazy one. I mean, I think Seth versus Solo is also a good one. I think that idea of Seth being like, "Hey, this is a shot fired."
Yeah.
I don't know who Drew McIntyre in the final against
Sheamus.
Oh, that's good. And then Sheamus, Brawling Brutes comes to Raw and they send somebody else over to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool. Blind Mask says, which WWE team would you guys want to face if Paul allowed it?
Wait, which team would we want to face?
Mm-hmm.
Like a wrestling match?
He doesn't specify. I'm assuming that's the case, but I'll go with the New Day as long as we get to just sim it. As long as it's in 2K.
Okay. That's
what,
Good. Stan here asks, which seems more of a Hail Mary attempt to hang on to something that was past its shelf life, Bullet Club Gold or NWO 2000?
Which one, what?
It's more of a Hail Mary to hang on to something that was past its shelf life.
Ooh.
I mean, this year is, 10 years of Bullet Club? It's the 10th anniversary of Bullet Club.
Yeah, it's gone on for like 4 years too long, to be honest.
Yeah. Whereas NWO 2000, this came along 4 years after the NWO was founded.
I mean, here's the thing. I'll say this. NWO 2000 was a desperate attempt to like save the entire company.
Yeah.
Bullet Club Gold isn't really that. It's not that egregious of a thing. So NWO 2000 is the answer. That was more desperate.
Yeah.
Luis
here asks, at this point, is it better for AEW to cut their losses with Miro?
Let him go. Let him go to WWE. They'll use him right. I think Triple H would. I think he'd use him. He'd use him. I think he'd use him.
Yeah. If they could do the TV. Redeemer character, that'd be great.
Yeah, he'd be on TV.
Such a fascinating character.
Or have him go to Impact. Jay says, if Drew leaves WWE, will he go back to Impact or will he go to AEW? He'd either go to AEW or he wouldn't go anywhere.
Maybe go to New Japan.
That'd be crazy. That'd be nuts. Like, wherever he goes, if it's New Japan or AEW, he's got to be champion within a month.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, he's just too big. He's too massive.
Jack Napier. You don't have to do it, Steve.
Anonymous tip. Napier's cleaning out Axis Chemicals. Who's down there? Eckhart, sir. Oh, dear. Let's go.
Jack Napier asked, do you think Robert Stone will end up being Von Wagner's next victim for asking too many questions?
Hey. You're going to be the dead body in my yard if you're not careful about asking me about my childhood, Stone.
Wow.
Yeah. Jonathan Vieira says, hey, should the Hall of Fame lineup for next year be all ECW legends since it's in Philadelphia? No, you don't need to do that.
But there should be at least one or two ECW alumni amongst
RVD's in, right? Is RVD?
Yeah,
he's a couple years ago, yeah.
So who else would you induct? Raven's got to go in, right?
Raven's got to go in. The franchise, Shane Douglas, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Yeah, Shane Douglas go. Come on, he's the franchise. He's the guy who threw the title down.
Yeah, I know.
It's got to be Shane Douglas. He's got to go in.
A couple people in chat saying Paul Heyman. That would make a lot of sense.
Jason, the model.
What about Johnny Hotbody?
Yeah, Johnny Hotbody. How about what was that dude's name? Doug Furnace.
Doug Furnace, yeah.
Doug Furnace.
He wrestled in WWE too, though.
Yeah.
He wrestled a lot of places.
Tommy Dreamer, maybe.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer, Sandman.
The Dudleys are in, right?
Yeah,
they're in.
Yeah.
Sandman would be great.
Yeah.
Sandman on Dark Side of the Ring was always amazing. I think he was on the New Jack episode.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Carlos here says, how do you book LA Knight to the title picture and win? He's in the tournament. He wins it.
Yeah,
holds it for 10 years.
He wins all the matches that needs to be won. And then he holds it forever. Yeah.
Breaks Bruno's record.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He'd be like, what, 55 by the time that happened?
Something like that.
Like the 8-year reign, he'd be 48.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve somewhere here says, I was finally able to get a Hangman Page Bullet Club shirt on Bullet Club Day. What is your favorite wrestling t-shirt you've owned?
Favorite wrestling t-shirt I've owned. Oh man, I don't know.
Is it cheating to say the Fun Wrestling shirt?
Oh yeah, one of our shirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite wrestling shirt.
But outside of one that we've done. I don't think I want to wear a lot.
I know there was one. I mean, I wore the Lee Moriarty one a lot.
That's a great shirt.
It was a really good design. One of my favorite designs was that Prince Devitt one that sort of looked like a punk zine.
Oh yeah.
I like that one quite a bit.
Yeah, that was cool. The suplex apparel.
Suplex
Prince
apparel
Devitt
always
one
has good stuff. Yeah,
I have. It's pretty cool. I wear that one a bunch. So I'll probably say that one.
All right, you ready to bring in Triple H? He's probably tired from.
Probably.
Yeah.
I want to ask him about this tournament.
All right, here we go. We're gonna bring in Triple H. Hello, hi. This is the Game of Games. Now that's my official name. The Game of Games. What's your question? I'm in Puerto Rico. On
Hi,
Cinco
Triple H.
de Mayo.
Hi.
They're unrelated. Cinco de Mayo is it's for Mexico. This is a different place here. This is Puerto Rico.
Yeah. How are you? Having fun?
I'm the king of camp. I'm having a great time here in Puerto Rico.
Good. Let me ask you a question about
food is delicious. The fans are hot for wrestling action. Sports entertainers. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your question?
About this World Heavyweight Championship title tournament.
Yes, I know what your question is. I've heard it a million times today. I'm tired of talking about it. It's Dan's idea to bring SmackDown in on this shit. I know it doesn't make any sense. I get it. It's wrestling. We'll write it correctly. Just get over it.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you for answering.
But I've got a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
I'm not sure I like where this is going.
For Jim Ross impersonator Dick Slavitt.
I knew it. Hang up, Steve. Hang up. I'm going to text you right now, Steve. Hang up.
Man, oh, man. Let's talk about it. Earlier, I heard you say the word engorge, and I was like, oh, man, Dick Slavitt.
Hang up,
I'm
Steve.
all about it.
Hang up.
I'm a grower, not a shower. Let me tell you that. You want to see it? It's so tiny right now, but that'll change real quick. Sorry, he's gone.
For fuck's sakes, man.
It's an anxiety attack for me, too.
You're not the one that has to deal with it.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
Oh, boy. What a mess that was. What did he say this time? Something about
I'm not going to
showing and not growing. What is that? Come on.
I'm not going to repeat it.
Small and then it gets big.
I don't want
No. I'm in trouble now, everybody. I didn't even do anything, and I'm in trouble.
You are in trouble.
So thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time. It's not my fault. I didn't do it.
You know this kind of stuff happens. You got to get your finger on the button.
Okay, you put your finger on your button. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.